frozen Coke for you. Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Daniel.
And we're here today with the three of us for an episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast, which is a podcast for gamers who don't have time to game. And we are glad to be back with you. It is the month of August, or I guess it's the end of July. Not quite August yet. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Correct.
My bad. It's the end of July. I'm trying to jump ahead in time because my birthday's in August, and that's good. So,
Aha.
Yep. Good things happen on my birthday. I think I'm working my birthday this year.
Who did that?
I don't know. Someone who is who I appreciate very much, in general.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so welcome to the podcast, and Ryan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
From your absence of a couple of last month, the last two episodes, I guess.
That's right.
It's a rare occurrence that Ryan misses episodes. So.
I did figure out, by the way, I got it working on my phone, and I was able to listen to the 2 episodes that I missed.
Nice.
So
he's up to speed, y'all.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Lots of interesting things have happened. So I'll share this story to get us kind of started. I went to visit my family in another state, and I went to the game exchange in the local metropolitan area. And I've got to say, it was so different. It was just a different experience going into a different game exchange.
Huh.
So the one we've got here near us, there's a lot of, it's kind of small. It's a smaller space.
It is. It's a very tight space.
But I feel like they have an overabundance of, DVDs and an overabundance of games that just aren't interesting and that I'm not interested in.
No, tell it like it is.
It's just not, so... And there's just not the stuff that you would want, if you're looking for something in particular.
Yeah.
The stuff just isn't there. This one and this other one that I went to out of the state was a plethora of just wonders and magic and just great things. And I, wanted to buy so much stuff.
And you did buy so much
I probably spent more money than I should have. But I talked on the last episode... in our game reviews, I talked about Guitar Hero and how I kind of started playing Guitar Hero again, and that made me want to play Rock Band.
Nice.
And so, I have my Wii U still, obviously, because I collect game consoles, and with the Wii U, it's backwards compatible with the Wii, which is a fantastic feature, by the way.
It's true.
But... So that gave me the opportunity to kind of break out some of the Rock Band stuff again, but I actually didn't have any of my Rock Band stuff anymore. So I had except I take that back. I had gotten when my sister and her family moved recently, they were getting rid of a bunch of old video game stuff, so I did inherit their Rock Band stuff that they used for with their kids, but they didn't have any of the games. All they had was Band Hero, and I think that is stuck in their Wii. And I can't get the drive is broken, and I have to figure out how to fix that. But
what a bizarre punishment.
I know, right? So anyway, I went and I did at this other. I had gone to our game exchange here, and they didn't have anything for the Wii. None of the Rock Band games for the Wii, nothing like that.
Yeah.
All they had, and I went to several other local game shops and stuff like that looking for stuff, and I was okay, if I can't find the stuff for the Wii, even though that's what I have the instruments for, maybe I can find the instruments for another console and the games, and I could find nothing. Yeah. There was nothing anywhere. No one had anything. No Wii games, and I was just well, whatever. And so then when I went to this other one out of state, they had everything for the Wii. I had my pick. I even picked up, Rock Band 3, which I've never played.
Yeah.
And they had Rock Band drum sets. They had guitars. They had everything that you would need. And it's a weird thing. And so I was like trying to figure out like, what is the difference
between the two?
Like why the discrepancy? And I think what it is because like, I think the market is more saturated up here. Like people quote unquote know what they have, right? And so they're willing to just, I'm going to sell this myself on Facebook Marketplace.
Sure, yeah.
And people,
that you might be onto something.
People
with that.
will buy that, as opposed to where I went, it's more sparse. Like the people who are looking for that are going to be harder to find.
So you could just fire up social media, do an ad hoc sale to a stranger on the internet. You kind of need a physical hub.
Yes.
For these things.
So it was just fascinating. So I mean, it really makes you want to go, how many like small town game shops could you like go find? Like if you just started searching, like you could just find like these really, really rare gems that are like impossible to find, that are a lot cheaper. Like if you could just go out, like if you just had time to just like kind of go out in like random places and search for those and kind of the smaller market communities.
So Josh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset would you be if I told you that I was in our local game exchange literally today and saw a Rock Band drum set and guitar?
Yes, so they did have that game exchange. I know that they did have a drum set.
Oh,
It is not in good condition though.
It looked pretty rough.
It was not in good condition, and I think they were asking like $80 for it. Woo! And I was like,
yeah, that's steep.
I'm gonna look for somewhere else, because I do have the Band Hero drum set where the guitar. So if you recall that era of music, there was Rock Band that came out first, as far as like the band things. And that had its own specific instruments that you had to use with Rock Band. Nothing else would work.
Oh, yeah.
And then Guitar Hero was like, oh, crap. We have to come out with a band thing, too.
Right.
And so they launched their own thing. And from there, the two things kind of worked interchangeably. So if you had the Rock Band stuff, it worked with the Guitar Hero stuff.
Yep.
If you had the Band Hero stuff, or Guitar Hero Guitar Hero World Tour, if you had the Guitar Hero World Tour stuff, it would work with Rock Band.
Yep.
The trick is, the first Rock Band, the very first one that came out, is only compatible with genuine Rock Band instruments.
Yep.
Naturally.
Of course it is.
And there's a lot of really great songs. And also, so here's the really frustrating thing. This gets us kind of into a topic that we talk about quite a lot, actually. More than we ought to, probably. But one of the things with the second Rock Band was that you could pay to, if you had a previously saved Rock Band file, you could pay like $30
Yep.
and get all of the Rock Band songs on Rock Band 2.
Yep.
Well, it turns out that I actually did have both of those games for the Wii previously. But because the Wii shop is shut down completely...
It's gone bye-bye.
It's gone.
Yep.
It is gone.
Oh,
and I can't play the Rock Band 1 songs on Rock Band 2, even though I had paid for it.
Even though you paid for it.
If you can't hold it, you
don't own it. That's so true. So, anyway, I just thought it was a fascinating thing to have happen. But anyway, Ryan, we haven't heard from you in a while. So
this is true.
I want to hear stories.
All right, so I have been out of the country for about 2.5 weeks. I traveled to Western Africa for Northwest Africa for work. I was in Ghana this time, and I had an amazing thing happen to me.
Okay, I want to hear this amazing thing.
I'm so sad.
I have to tell our listeners this story is 100% true. This is an absolutely
I already don't believe you.
true story. It happened to me, so I can verify every fact
I'm feeling especially gullible today.
of this story.
Do we have two witnesses?
Yes.
Are they both
Actually,
males?
we do.
Josh and Daniel.
Yes, they
Wait.
are both males.
Okay.
And they're both pastors, too. So
Okay.
hopefully you can trust them.
God is his witness.
Okay, so we were in the northern part of Ghana in a pretty remote area. And I had never been to this part of Ghana before, but apparently, some of your more your American amenities that you might be used to are not readily available in this part of Ghana. Like air conditioning, electricity, some of those types of things. So that's okay. I was warned ahead of time, and as I've mentioned on this show before, I like to go hunting, I like to go camping, so that doesn't bother me. So we travel up there, and something that has never happened to me before when I travel for work, the food did not agree with my stomach.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Problematic.
So, the food was not agreeing with my stomach, and one of those other amenities that is not always readily available in this part of Ghana is indoor plumbing.
Oh no.
Oh no. So, again, I was prepared for this.
Okay.
And my wife was also, she helped me pack as she always does, and she thought of many things that I would not have thought of as she always does.
As they are apt to do.
As our wives often do.
Bless them.
And yes, big time bless them. And so she thought, hey, take some baby wipes with you. And I thought, you know what, that's a really good idea. So I did. So the first day of our training, I wasn't feeling sick, but my stomach wasn't happy.
Okay.
We were out at a village that did not have indoor plumbing in any of the buildings we were at. Let's just say that the way you went to the bathroom was in a hole in the ground.
Okay.
Out in the middle of the village.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the middle of the middle?
The middle.
Like, is it just a hole in the ground that is open air, or is this enclosed?
There's 3 walls, but
Okay.
it's not completely enclosed. So,
Okay.
You could walk past.
Okay.
So I took the wipes with me, because that's why I had them. And I go to do something that I already don't want to do. And the first thing that happens to me that morning...
You drop the baby wipes in the hole.
I dropped the baby wipes in the hole.
No!
That was how I started this work trip.
Oh no!
That was the first day of this trip.
I don't like this first day.
And it was one of those moments where I didn't even get mad. I kind of just said to myself, well, I know how this trip is going to go.
Oh, man.
I dropped the baby wipes in the hole.
You dropped the baby wipes.
And yes, there are witnesses, because I had to ask one of the pastors with me if I could have his baby wipes that he brought with him.
Gosh.
So yes, there are witnesses to this story.
Oh, ugh.
100% true story.
Ugh. Don't drop the baby wipes.
So, sometimes I am thankful for the most simple things in life, like clean water and indoor plumbing.
In
these
and maybe now you will be too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have no words for
I got nothing.
That's awful.
So
awful.
I can laugh at it now, so I hope everyone else can too. But
I hope everyone can laugh at that.
It was one way to start a trip.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I did not go on a trip, but I could have if I wanted to. I was off of work all week, and we had a little bit of a staycation. One of the quirks of this staycation was getting weird texts from Josh everywhere I went and finding him somewhere behind me, whether we're at a restaurant or at a grocery store or in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's the best.
It is a very odd thing. See, this is not just a week thing. This is something that has been going on for months at this point, where I just happen to see Daniel at random places where I can't stop and say anything, so I just text him real quick, being like, "Hey, I hope you're enjoying whatever it is."
Popsicles.
Yeah, whatever it is you're doing. and like then just not being anywhere around when he like gets the text message.
Never occurred to the man that someone would like to enjoy their popsicles in peace. But popsicles aside, so we were at a restaurant going through a drive-thru. Josh texts like, "Hey, enjoying that chicken?" Because we were at a chicken place. It was great, and I was like, "Where is he?" Because we're sitting in the drive-thru. Like, there's not very many places that he could like see us from. Sure enough, we get to the last window to pay and get our food, and Josh is sitting there in the window.
I am plastered in the window, waving.
Then, not a day later, we're at the grocery store, and one of the kiddos is just running around. I see, lo and behold, I see Josh with his family, and I go over to say hi, and one of the little ones comes around the corner and is like, "Hey, you," and then looks
at my family,
and is just like, "I don't know you."
Which is completely untrue. He has been in this house.
Like, not 2 weeks ago.
He has worn my children's costumes. Like,
I don't know you.
I don't know you. It's just like... kids are funny like that. Like, it's funny how kids can be, like, completely oblivious and rude.
Yeah.
Like, without meaning to be.
And just completely earnest about it. Like, this is a fact.
Like...
This is real.
100%. Like,
That's
and you're
awesome.
like, that's like one of the, like, that's a really rude thing to just say to someone, but you can't, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, yes, you do. You know me. What are you talking about?
I can tell you some stories about this one in particular likes to invite himself over to other families. So, like, he'll literally see someone doing something fun and be like, "Hi, what's your name? Can I come sleep over at your house?" It's like, no, you cannot. Keep walking. And then these complete strangers are standing there mystified because they're like, "Who is this kid?
Why is he so, like, not afraid of people? What is wrong?"
I do wonder that sometimes. Hopefully that'll be a feature, not a bug, later on. But yeah, that was my vacation. Is Josh was my vacation.
Well, it only happened 2 days out of the 7.
That's like a lot of days.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Anyway. So it's the end of July, as we have discussed. It is not August.
It's not August.
But it is the end of July.
Not here yet.
And so we've got some news. Some stuff has happened in the gaming world. I talked recently, a couple months ago, I guess. I was really excited about this. About Sega renewing some old classic games that haven't been around for a bit. Crazy Taxi.
Yep.
And
Crazy Taxi.
And Jet Set Radio. Mm-hmm. And I still want to be excited about these, but I'm a little concerned that that Sega is going to ruin them in this case.
Oh. Josh, you're hurting me already. You haven't even said anything
I
yet.
I know. So what it seems like is going to happen is these are going to be more like Fortnite type games where it's just like a bunch of people all the time playing, and so everyone's just kind of interacting in the same world at the same time,
I just wanted to say, with all due respect, I really didn't think you could ruin my night with just one sentence. This man is talented. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am sad.
Look, like, I don't understand. And maybe it's just because I'm a grumpy old man at this point. But, like, why can't we just make games anymore? Like, you can't just make a game and put it out there and have it be, hey, this is the game. Like, Crazy Taxi was a really, really fun game. Like, it was just fun. Like, you picked people up. It had a great soundtrack. The Offspring did a great job. They just had the Offspring album. Like, that's all it was. It was great. It's good music. And it's just driving around. You pick people up. You run out of time. You're done. You get grades. It's good. you don't have to make this into like a multiplayer thing. Like it does. Like just have the game. Just put a new game out there, and I guarantee you, people will buy it and people will play it.
Everything does not have to be. What's Battle Royale or whatever that genre is.
Well, it's a live service is what they call them. They're live services.
Just make
Jet Set
Crazy
Radio
Taxi for crying out loud.
They're both such fun, quirky games.
Yes.
Like, so here's the problem I have with Sega is every time they come up with something that's new and unique and actually interesting, the next thing they do is copy someone else and ruin it.
How can they
I am
this?
specifically looking at the 3D Sonic games, but there are a couple other examples of this, and it's like both of those games were really cool, and just copying another game's format it's not going to work.
And by those two games, I assume you mean Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2? Or
Oh no, sorry, those were great.
Okay.
I really meant the hate was directed at Sonic the Hedgehog 2006.
Oh, okay.
That was
Gotcha.
Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 have a very fond place in my heart.
Okay. I wasn't sure which ones you were talking about, so I was like, because they did those great, and then like every other 3D Sonic since then has just been like absolutely awful.
Breaks my heart. I'm still gonna buy them because as a Sonic fan, I've like sworn a blood oath that like I'm gonna keep buying these games and keep being disappointed. But like
some of those games are just like tragically broken. Like you can find YouTube videos about the way that like some of those like the video like it just like skips over like it's awful. I can't remember, like it's bad. Like some of those games are just horribly broken graphically. But anyway,
Back to future Sega plans.
yeah. And I feel like it's not just Sega, like everyone wants to come up with the next big live service thing. But I feel like that market is done. Like you've got your Fortnite, you've got your Call of Duty.
Just leave it alone. Leave it at those two.
Like no one else is interested. Like
yeah.
I talked about what was the Hawked, I think was the game that I tried to play on Xbox that was free. That was it sounded great, and it was like you find treasures, but it's like you're also fighting with other people. It sounds like a great idea, but it falls flat because there's nothing tethering me to it.
So what's really surprising to me at this point is like and like the mobile game market gets this. We have enough information about the psychology of gameplay, about the motivations behind gaming, that you should theoretically be able to just knock it out of the park for somebody just about every single time. But for some reason, and maybe this is just like an issue with the project management behind these game development processes or something else. Like, is it just too many cooks in the kitchen to mess this up? Because it's like the data is very clear. There are certain things that bring people back to play again, and there are certain things that just irritate people.
Yeah. Well, it's not just Sega that's doing this. Like there are other games that have come out from this recently that like have like they've launched like to great fanfare, and everyone's like yeah, like all the the development teams like yeah, and the production team behind it's like yeah, and then like it comes out and it's just like meh, all you did was made Fortnite again. Like stop it. The game exists as it is. We don't need a bunch of battle royale like just massive multiplayer online stuff. Like we don't need it. Just give me a good single player like. I get it. Playing with people is fun. The problem is, I think at this point, is that we're not playing with people. We're playing with strangers, right? Like
yeah, who are usually cussing into your ear and
usually 11 years old.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So if I want to play multiplayer games, but I want to play those games with my friends. Like, give me that service. But anyway, I've said my piece on that, I think, but I'm just so disappointed, like, that's the way that they're going with those games. Like, I was so excited because I was like, yes, a new game, but no, it's not a new game. It's not a game. Like, I think that
it's kind of like a Fortnite reskinning. And it was a bait and switch.
I think that's my problem with it. I don't think of Fortnite as a game. Like, it's not a video. Like, it is, but it's not.
It's kind of almost like a platform.
Yeah. It's more of a. Exactly what they say.
Yeah.
It's a service. Like, here's something that you want. Here, come pay us money for this thing. And I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. I don't get it. I never will.
You know, I will say on that regard, a lot of games recently have put in multiplayer features that are just pointless. I can think of particularly like several of the Fire Emblem games have like multiplayer integrations. Like, hey, you can see where people died.
Nope, don't care.
What's the motivation for me to connect this particular game to the internet for that?
Yeah,
like you've missed the point. The point of the people playing this game in particular is they are playing a single player game.
Yeah. They do it with Persona also. You can turn it on and see what choices people made as they progress. And it's like, I don't care what choices people made. That's why I'm playing this game.
Well, and Matt had talked with us about Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Like over the last, several months ago. And like we were all really excited about that and we were all talking about playing it together. But that one has fallen off. Like,
yep.
Like, people, like...
Thank you, PlayStation.
Like, people flock to these games... And then, like, they play it for a bit, and then they just abandon it and go back to playing Fortnite.
Because that's what they're already playing.
Like, it's just, give it up. Like, come up with something original. And that, my friends, is why Nintendo is going to win the console war again. We talked about last news episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my first piece of news that I wanted to get off my chest. My disappointment and frustration with the world of... Which is often how these things digress. But anyway.
So now our show is the grumpy old dads, not the dead tired dads.
We are no longer dead tired dads. We are grumpy old dads yelling at kids to get off our lawn.
Get off our lawn!
Must be nice to have a lawn. I'm kidding. Okay.
So... What else? Anyone else have any positive news?
This one's more funny.
Okay, funny news.
Because I told you I was listening to the episodes that you guys did, and I had this experience happen to me before I listened to the episodes.
Okay, hit me.
So for some reason, every time I turn on a game console, doesn't matter which game console, I keep getting bombarded with advertisements. That F1 manager, some soccer game, F1 manager is coming out soon.
Oh.
And like, what? Quit telling me. Okay, it's coming out. I don't care. And I keep getting bombarded with it. And that happened to me. And then I listened to the episode where you had your experience with HBO Max.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is what's happening to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, the only reason I'm telling that story is because that game comes out in a couple days.
Okay. So
that's literally the only connection to it. Like, it just keeps advertising it to me.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes, Josh.
Did you know that F1 Manager comes out
I had
soon?
heard that somewhere.
I just thought you might like to know.
I did hear that somewhere. I don't remember where, but I did hear that.
Also, House of the Dragon or something like that is on HBO Max.
It is. You know what's funny about that? You mentioned that I, read the books. I did not finish the show, the TV show, and I have not even bothered to try to watch House of the Dragon. So, but I've noticed the same thing.
Yeah,
like it's just they keep.
It's everywhere.
Like, okay,
that's
not what I'm here for.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm here to watch ER. That's it.
So anyway, I just thought that was funny because that happened to me before. That is really funny. I heard that on the podcast. So
very funny.
So. That's not my actual gaming news, though. My actual gaming news is, for the first time in 11 years, if you are so inclined, you can play college football on video game consoles again.
Yes, indeed.
Because about a week ago, by the time you listen to this, NCAA Football 25 released.
Woohoo!
So,
at long last.
At long last. I know that there are a lot of people that are excited about that.
As I have mentioned before, when they announced it, I'm very excited about it. I'm going to use some of my birthday money to go buy it. But I think I'm the only one of the 4 Dead Tired Dads that cares about it at all.
Well,
so,
we can turn this around though from a positive news thing where like this is a great game that has been out of print for 11 years.
Yep.
And we can turn this into a really really negative thing, as we're gonna start doing on
because
the new,
we're grumpy old
because
dads.
we're like. I think that's what the news episode needs to become. Is just us yelling about the gaming industry and how it sucks.
I like it.
All EA games get released on Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah, I looked into more of that, but yeah, more or less, yes.
So basically, every EA sports game,
Most of them,
Madden, the new Madden is going to be available at launch on Game Pass.
So that one's not either.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I looked into.
Okay.
So
it was last year.
a couple of their more popular ones, like Madden and FIFA, which is surprisingly one of their really popular titles.
Everyone loves FIFA.
It's big. And this college football game they will come to Game Pass eventually, but not for like somewhere between 6 and 12 months, something like that.
So you will not be able to play this game on Game Pass, which is incredibly lame.
Yeah, I moped around my house for 2 days when I figured that out.
I was pretty sure that they had said like originally that like all of the EA games would be available at launch on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And like now they've reneged on that. It's like, wait a second, you can't do that.
Yes,
I guess they can, because if you can't hold it, you don't own it.
Yeah, I was that was my whole plan, was like, oh, I have Game Pass. That's how I'll play that game. And then I let my Game Pass expire while I was out of the country, planning on signing up for it when I got back. I went to sign up for it, and for some reason, I thought to myself, I'm going to check and make sure that it's going to be on there, because that was all I was signing up for Game Pass for. And I looked it up, and no, it's not going to be on there.
So. It is actually really interesting that you bring up Game Pass, because they kind of got themselves into some hot water. A little bit. It wasn't too long ago that they started introducing tiers to the Game Pass service and raising subscription prices for existing members.
Yep.
That was planning on going into effect September 12th. So the Federal Trade Commission took issue with that, and the Xbox is going to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit over this issue. So
wow.
Yeah. They've been spending a lot of time in court lately, actually.
What's the argument from the Trade Commission?
So, per the filing, the FTC is unhappy that they discontinued Game Pass for console, and they stated that users must pay a substantial price increase to switch to Game Pass Ultimate. It's about an 80% increase in price, so that makes sense, I guess. Those unwilling to do so must settle for Game Pass Standard, which the FTC describes as a degraded product, since it excludes day one releases. So if you want to throw in the fact that like EA stuff is not included, and some of the nonsense with Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, because the FTC was involved with that one too.
Yep.
Man,
that might get a little bit interesting. I honestly, with this, I doubt that they're going to go through with the price increase in September. This is probably going to delay it at least for a little bit.
Well, that really puts the kibosh on a lot of what seems to be Xbox's plan. We've talked about at least the last news episode, I know, maybe the last 2 news episodes, about how Microsoft seems to be doing this thing where they are actually trying to get out of the console business.
Yep.
They are trying to stop making game consoles.
Which, in case you missed it, is why Nintendo has won the console war.
Yeah. Nintendo wins again because Sony and Microsoft both seem to be trying to get out of the console game. I've been seeing ads recently about being able to play Game Pass games on the Oculus.
I told you, man, they're trying to get it everywhere.
Like,
they'd put it in your shoelaces if they could.
Pretty soon it's going to be like Doom. It can be like they're going to be able to.
Yep.
It's going to be on your refrigerator. Like,
that's right. You got a smart fridge? We'll put Game Pass on it. That's what they're trying to do, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man, but that's a very cool
idea.
But they like if they're gonna run into stuff like this, like they've got to figure out the numbers, right? Like that's a problem. Like, and I was going to bring up the Game Pass on Oculus thing as kind of a positive thing, but like that's not going to work if they're going to keep like trying to raise prices for it and like just like
and I think at the end of the day, what the FTC is concerned about is the experience of owners of an Xbox versus people who just have a Game Pass, because they're trying to protect people who just have the console, because it does seem like they have a worse experience owning the hardware than they would if they were playing like on their their smart TV.
That's actually probably true. There aren't many games on, like, I bought a Series X because I was like, backwards compatible. Yeah. Like, yes, give me that. But like there just aren't that many games that I'm just like dying to own.
You gotta have,
that I have to buy for Xbox. There are way more games that I'm sitting around going, man, I can't wait to get that when it comes out on Switch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, which again is why Nintendo wins the console wars. Because the games that Sony, it's the case with both Sony and Microsoft. The games that they are coming out with that are their big games are ultimately just not that interesting.
They've not taken care of the IP. Like, I'm thinking of Spider-Man, I'm thinking of Halo. Like, those are supposed to be flagship, intellectual properties for these consoles. And I mean, Spider-Man 2 was cool. Halo, I don't remember the last Halo game I heard a lot of noise about, but like,
Halo 5 was the last one that they officially announced. Like, they officially came out with. Halo Infinite came out on Game Pass, and I talked about that one. It was a lot of fun, but again, it goes back to I don't know. I never got into all I did was play multiplayer.
Yeah,
and it was fun. Like, it was just like playing multiplayer, on LAN, back in the day. But
good times.
But ultimately, I didn't care enough about it to like even try to get into a campaign. If there was one, I don't even remember, because my Game Pass lapsed and I gave up on it. And there's no way for me to go out and buy the game, like, now that it's and I'm not going to resubscribe to Game Pass to like get it
just for that,
right? Yeah. Like, why? So they I feel like Microsoft has some stuff to figure out about like the gaming industry.
Well, and I don't have enough data to say whether or not this is an actual pattern that subscription models have. But something I noticed with the streaming services is that when you've got, let's say a majority market share of a new thing. I'm looking at Netflix in particular with this. Sustaining studios off of subscription revenues becomes increasingly unscalable.
Oh yeah.
Like, how many things have we seen with Netflix that got canceled partway through or didn't get a sequel or a second season because the money just wasn't there.
Yeah.
You could make the same case for Disney. Disney is having that problem.
Yeah, I don't really. Here's the problem. I love Marvel movies. Absolutely. I grew up reading the 1960s comics in black and white omnibus form. I have dug through my dad's back issue collection all the way through the 80s and 90s storylines. So I was really excited when Iron Man came out and we finally have a good cinematic universe started. I don't care right now. There's nothing I'm interested in from Marvel, because I'm like, okay, cool. Did Secret War badly.
Yeah.
Again, how many times have we reviewed this storyline? And what I'm worried about with Game Pass specifically is what's going down with the game studios. Microsoft has already shown it can't sustain a studio very well. A couple different acquisitions, if I'm not mistaken. I could be.
No, they've spent billions of dollars over the last couple of years.
They bought Bethesda and Blizzard, so that's that's two whoppers right there.
Yeah. And watching Netflix have so many interrupted creative cycles makes me think we're going to see some of that on the video game side. We're gonna have games with no sequels, games die in development hell. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, something that'll be interesting about the court case is what is the argument from the FTC? Because you can't. No one is being forced to buy Game Pass.
fair.
So like
yeah.
they could say it's $100 a month. You have to choose to
Right.
pay for it or not. And so
my only guess, I don't know, but my only guess is kind of goes to like the, because I mean, obviously that's the big question. Like, what is the argument that Game Pass is detrimental? But like, you spend the money on the console,
yeah,
for the games. Like, that's what the console is for. You buy the console for
Right.
games. But they're not putting out games for the console. All they're doing is promoting Game Pass.
but everything that's on Game Pass you can buy
True.
at $60 or $70 a piece. So like.
But, well, yeah, now it'll be an interesting...
Sorry, I should clarify. I am married to a paralegal who is very much a... she kind of geeks out over legal stuff. And so I'm just thinking about the legal
absolutely.
aspect of it and like wondering how that is all going to play out in a courtroom.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a special episode where Ryan's wife comes on and explains everything that's going on with this court case.
She really could, and she could...
I think that would be fantastic.
I ask her that all the time. Like when there's a really big legal case, I go, "Can you explain this to me like I'm 5 because it's not making sense to me?" And she does.
Okay, I'm going to send the link to the filing over to you, Ryan. You are
right.
responsible for getting us the goods.
Yeah,
All right,
you
now
have to
I
get the
have homework.
information. You do.
All right,
So
I will. I
we'll
will
have
do
to.
this.
That'll be on our next news episode, maybe.
I will do it.
So anyway, back to I want to touch on the idea that Game Pass is actually on Oculus,
Yes.
because that to me is just absolutely mind-blowingly bonkers. Like,
Yeah.
and it goes back to what we talked about. Like I've been saying, or we've kind of gotten into, like, it's so weird to me to think that, like, they are willingly putting their IPs in other situations, like, not situations, in other, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me, gentlemen. On other consoles, that's not the word I'm looking for,
Like,
but on other,
Yeah.
in other contexts.
It's outside their ecosystem.
Other contexts. Like, I mean, no one would have ever imagined, and I'm sure we talked about this on a previous episode, but no one ever would have put Ratchet and Clank on Xbox.
Right.
Like, that Ratchet and Clank
that belongs to PlayStation.
Yeah.
You want to play it? You get a PlayStation.
That's just wrong.
Yeah. But, like, Microsoft is over here just going, yeah,
Put
sure.
it on everything.
Put it on there. Like, and
Play Halo on the Switch. It'll be great.
Why not?
Yeah.
Go for it.
And so, like, it just reinforces my point that, like, I really, really think it's plausible that the Series X is actually Microsoft's last console.
A lot of people think that.
Like, that's it. They're done. They are not coming out with another console. That will be it. And I think that they'll update it for a while and keep it updated. I would love to see more and more backwards compatibility. The problem is, like with everything these days, it's all internet-based. And as soon as they go, okay, we're not going to support this anymore,
Yeah.
everything, like, that console becomes a brick. It is a giant brick that does nothing as soon as they stop support
And
for
the
it.
problem is with the components and stuff. Some of them are so specialized to work together to have that internal compatibility. You can't even strip it for parts, really.
No, probably not.
Unfortunately, we're looking at you, the Wii, and Rock Band 1.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't help us.
So, like, it's one of those, it's just a weird situation to, like, kind of start thinking about, like, whereas previously, so, like, you think about, like, the NES, right? The Nintendo Entertainment System. That's a rare console that people, well, not rare necessarily, but that's a console that people want to have.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to play the games natively on the console that it came out on.
Yeah.
I like to cheat too much at NES games.
But my point being that, like, you can find an NES
Yep.
and you can buy it, you can hook it up to a TV, you can put a game in, and if you can get it to stop blinking, you can play it. Like, you can play the games on the console. We are at a point now where I feel like you have a console, at least two, that you will not, like, at some point they will be completely worthless. You will not be able to do anything with them other than mod them to work to do something else.
Well, won't they still play any games that they previously? I mean, like,
You would think,
if
but
Halo 2 is backwards compatible, then you should be able to put it in your Series X and play it, right?
You would think, but it downloads it. It has to download it from, so, like, even so.
Interesting.
Like, it doesn't
Okay.
just play the game off the disc. It emulates what it's doing when you're putting that disc in there. It's going, oh, this is this game. Here, pull that from this file.
Yeah.
Put it onto your console.
Gotcha.
And it emulates it. It's an emulator.
It's not actually just
It's not
reading
actually
the disc and
reading the
playing.
disc. It emulates it, which is something that has been running with Sony. They've been working on trying to get. They've been trying to get the PS5 to emulate PS3 games, I think. And they have been running into issues with that. But that's supposed to be a big update for PS5. Is that it is going to be backwards compatible with PS3 stuff, but they haven't quite figured that out yet.
Is it? Sorry, I'm way out of the loop on PlayStation. Is it backwards compatible with PS4?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes,
Sorry.
I believe the PS5 is backwards compatible with PS4's stuff, but PS3 no. See, but the thing is, like, what they really like, if they really wanted to do something crazy, they'd make it backwards compatible with PS2, which is like their greatest console like ever.
All right, if that happened, I'd go buy a PS5.
I mean, exactly.
I'll be
Exactly.
honest, I would do that too.
Yeah, that would be remarkable.
My wife has so much nostalgia for PS2.
No, I
Like-
probably would too. I have a bunch of PS2 games that I never play because I don't have a PS2 hooked up. So anyway, it's wild to me, and this is, I know I said this last time, but it's true. Nintendo literally did nothing. Nintendo did nothing different than what they have done since they started as a video game company. They've done the same thing every generation. They did exactly what they want to do. They put out a console that they wanted to put out.
Yep.
They didn't say, hey, we've got to compete with Microsoft and Sony. They said, no, we're just going to put out a console that does what we want it to do, that we think is cool. And they're the only ones that are going to be left standing.
I think that's probably this ties into a couple different conversation streams we've had. Like, that's just what you have to do. You make something that's interesting that you care about. Stop paying attention to everybody else. Looking at you, Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi.
Right?
Sorry, Sega. You've been making this mistake for like 30 years now. Please fix it. Stop looking at competitors and make interesting things.
And people will buy it. People will buy the interesting thing.
So here's what I'm really hearing you say right now. I need to go out and buy external hard drives for my Series X and a bunch of backwards compatible games and download them onto external hard drives now while it still has internet support so that I can actually play them forever. That's what I'm hearing you saying.
Essentially, yes. I mean,
All right, I'm going to buy some hard drives.
because and here's the other thing, like, eventually, like, with cartridge gaming, like, you have the cartridge, you have the console, you put it in, it plays. Now
Until the chip battery dies.
right. There is a thing with the Switch where it does download certain things, so there might come a time where Switch games no longer work.
Yeah,
because
4 gigabytes for a checked out game for the library.
So that,
salty about that.
That could be a thing that happens. Like, and I'm not going to deny that. Like, but like the old games, like the idea that I can just pick up a console, plug it in, and it's always going to play. Like, unless there's something wrong with the actual chips, like, it will play. But like, without me having to do anything special, right?
Yeah.
But I have an Xbox. I have an Xbox 360. I have a PlayStation. I have a PlayStation 2. Like, all of those things have major components that could go horribly wrong, and the whole system is completely unfunctional. And it could be, the lens could go out, the drive could go out, like, the disk drive might not open, like...
The red ring of death.
Right, you get the red ring of death, like... There's just so, like, the CPU could be, could have destroyed, burnt up, like, all of these things that can happen with these newer consoles that make them so breakable.
Yeah, brittle.
And I fear for the, like, as someone who appreciates, like, the history of gaming, who appreciates retro gaming, and the fact that I can still find an Atari, and I can still hook an Atari up and play Asteroids, like, or E.T. Like, I can do that. I'm pretty sure that, like, in 30 years, no one's going to be looking for a Series X. Like, no one is going to be looking to find a Series X because it's going to be a pointless console.
This is going to be the greatest callback ever in season 33 of this show when we're talking about the Series X.
What a collector's item it is.
But on the flip side, people are going to be looking for Wiis.
Yep.
People are still, like, 30 years from now, there will be people who will want to find a Wii, who will want to play a Wii. There will be people who want to find a Switch, who want to play on the Switch. Like, it's granted, I don't know that because of the way, I don't know exactly how the Switch game cartridges work, how much of that is, like, on the cartridge and it just needs to access something online, or how much it's downloading onto your console. So it could be that the Switch goes through the same bricking process that all these other consoles that do this download stuff are doing. But I don't know.
I mean, you could still play the games without the downloads. You're just missing stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, that may help with the longevity.
Yeah. I don't know. But there's just so much about it that makes me go, I just don't see Sony and Microsoft having the staying power that we thought they might once had. But Nintendo is not going anywhere. So,
True.
That's my 2 cents. Nintendo is going to come out with another amazing console next year.
I'm so excited.
Josh is going to buy it right away.
I don't know if I'm going to buy it right away. I don't know if I'll be able to afford it at that point.
I mean, I, for one, am not going to wait 5 years into its release cycle to purchase it.
Right, no. I will not wait as long as I did to buy it for sure. Especially because I think it's all but confirmed at this point that it's going to be backwards compatible. Like, it hasn't, like, officially come out, but
that
like,
would get me to buy it pretty quickly.
I don't think there's any way they release the Switch 2 without making it backwards compatible. Yeah. It would make absolutely no sense. It goes completely against their MO for the last
a while,
like 2 generations.
Well, I mean, they had backwards compatibility back with the Game Boy SP and the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. That was always really important for the...
Well, so, I mean, when the GameCube came out, the Wii was backwards compatible. Like, the Wii was backwards compatible with the GameCube. Like, you can play GameCube games on the Wii.
That's so wonderful.
Now, when the Wii U came out, it was no longer GameCube backwards compatible, but it was Wii backwards compatible. So you can play Wii games on the Wii U, but not GameCube games on the Wii U, which is weird.
That is interesting.
But I guess, well, no, I know why they did that, because you don't have the controller. They put controller ports in the Wii, but not the Wii U.
Also, backwards compatibility is expensive. It's a great feature, but it's hard to pull off just from an engineering standpoint.
Yeah. Well, the only question I have between the Wii and the Wii U is if it was in the Wii and the Wii U is backwards compatible with Wii games, would that not be the same? Like, shouldn't it be basically the same thing? But I don't know. I don't know.
There's something weird about GameCube discs anyway, so that may have played into it.
Who knows?
We don't know.
That doesn't matter.
Don't listen to us. I'm kidding. Listen more.
Listen more. Listen to all the episodes. Go back.
Every single one.
All of them. Speaking of all of them, I think that about wraps us up for this episode of the Dead Tired Dads. Not tons and tons of news that we've talked about, but a lot of stuff that I think is important as it relates to the future of gaming and the way that things kind of play out. So if you like this episode, please do subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on and share it with your friends. Talk to people about us, please.
Yes.
You know, that would be great.
We need people to play Fortnite with.
Yeah. I want someone to play Crazy Taxi with me whenever that live service comes out. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked it, do all the things, like, subscribe, share, talk to your friends. And if you want a sticker, hit me up. I've got some. I will give you a sticker. Promise.
They're cool stickers.
They are cool stickers. Very cool. Maybe we'll get t-shirts at some point.
Ooh,
we should get
beanies.
T-shirts. Oh, beanies. Yeah.
It's a whole look.
Yeah,
it really is.
Guys, I feel like we should get t-shirts and beanies. And the next time they have Comic-Con in town, we should just put them on and go walk around.
You know, we should try to get sponsored by JnCo jeans, and like they can put like the Dead Tired Dads logo on the butt pockets,
like the patch or whatever.
Yeah, like the patches that they used to put on JnCo jeans.
Yes.
Daniel has no idea what we're talking about, but Ryan knows. Ryan and I know.
I know what you speak of.
Man, I remember those jeans were awesome. I miss JnCo so much. I want a pair of jeans that I could jump out of a plane and just
and they would be your parachute.
And they would be my parachute. They would get me down
safely.
That's all I want from a pair of jeans.
Yeah, no, I'm up to speed now.
Anyway, we digress. Thanks for listening. And if you like this episode, share it, talk about it, and like and do all the things as usual. We'll catch you next time on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.